All right, good morning, everyone. So I've been thinking, the disclaimer for anybody that's been with me or knows me for a while, the following does not come from a bad mood or a place of having a bad day or jaded, extremely subjective, pissy attitude. I was just working out and I was wondering, I was listening to some motivational crap on SoundCloud, and there's a bunch of like motivational speeches, and every one of them was pretty much an entertainer. Jim Carrey, Will Smith, I think Chris Pratt was on there, and it made me really think. And I say the following: yes, jaded attitudes, I think, can be beneficial because sometimes they can take away the veil of disillusion and being blindly enamored by something. Now, that's not to say ignoring reality or being enamored or having horse blinders on is a bad thing. I mean, you could be whatever. Think about people that invented the plane, or like the Wright brothers and Edison, all these people that ignored the naysayers. So there's a place for it, obviously. But this rant, if you will, is about tampering expectations, or this is a little Mike Rowe-esque when he's talking about a lot of us were beat to death, like be a doctor, be a lawyer, when in reality, welders, sanitation workers, taxi cab drivers, when they existed, workers, like that was considered like lower than. So it's kind of that comes from that. And so this video is about tampering or the realities of motivation. And the disclaimer is, I'm not going to shit on any of these people I mentioned. They all work hard, but let's be realistic. A lot of this will come from the entertainment industry. Yeah, everything they say, Jim Carrey, Stallone, Schwarzenegger, all these people, everything they say, I believe is sound advice. Work hard, blah, blah, blah. They've motivated me a lot of times. But particularly in the entertainment industry, but this applies to a lot of industries, and that's what this video is about, is think about the behind the scenes. In the entertainment industry, particularly, which is where this stemmed from, where all these motivational speeches on SoundCloud had actors. Their careers are flukes. Jason Statham, I just saw him on a reel talking about how he was literally on the streets in London hustling some people and somebody's put him in a movie. Career made. Most of the time that's the case. Even when you hear about him struggling, John Krasinski was on an interview talking about how he struggled for 5 years before The Office. Talk to any actor in LA who would kill for that quote unquote poor me 5-year struggle and then have a life career made. So although their advice about work hard, don't quit, all that is sound, we need, and I think this applies to a couple industries I'll reference, we need to be aware of that sweet spot of using that motivation, but also realizing the statistical fluke the person's giving us. Why aren't graduation ceremonies populated with people that have cured disease, single mothers who have 3 kids, who found a way to get a PhD? I'll even say athletes, they got to work their ass off. Veterans, and I'm not going to be biased because I'm a veteran, but veterans, or any career where work put in kind of proportionally equals results. Why do we put, and I'm not shitting on the industry I'd like to have a career in, but I kind of am, why do we put all these people that have fluke careers up on such a high pedestal of how to live life? I have friends, I know farmers, a guy, his name's Logan, I'll tag him in the description, works his ass off, he's a farmer. Betty's dad, hardworking son of a bitch farmer. These are people that should be giving these speeches, not people that have millions of dollars from fluke careers. Back in the Renaissance and medieval times, these were court jesters. Let's be honest. It's a fluke, they got discovered, and their job is playing pretend. And anybody in the film industry, this is not jaded. If you've been on a film set with major stars, of which who these people are, who typically give the cool graduation speeches, yeah, they work hard. They might train for the role. Keanu Reeves trains his ass off. Don't get me wrong. He's known to be super humble. And I don't know any of the, his life firsthand behind the scenes, but he works his ass off. We'll all agree. I would say that's a fact. Their life on set, their life isn't hard. Yes, they can have depression, anxiety. They can lose family members. I'm not shitting on that, the experience of being human. But if they're really honest, anybody who's been on a movie set and seen megastars on set, it's not a hard life. The crew, the stunt performers, catering, those sons of bitches are working their ass off. And those are the ones that are on a movie set who should be giving the speeches about don't quit, work your ass off, I go on 4 hours of sleep. Good buddy of mine, Mike O'Hearn, I think he's highly motivational. I think he's a really good guy. I think he has some now production people with him, but he's kind of a self-sustaining dude. And I saw him on a reel talking about how just when he said he was being kind of self-deprecating, he said something like, just when I feel good about myself, I see that The Rock has been up since 2 a.m. or something. Yeah, The Rock has about 30 assistants. So that's a perfect example of let's keep it in perspective. I'm not motivated by The Rock anymore. Yeah, he had $7 at some point in his past, but his life is busy. He works hard. But that doesn't necessarily make them an expert on something we need to put into our soul. And this comes from a place of, I was the kid that did this. I put a lot of weight to this stuff, and I was really disappointed because I picked an industry after the military where hard work didn't mean shit. It helps, don't get me wrong, I'm not shitting on any of that. People that work hard and have talent and have the fluke discovery, trifecta. But let's be honest. If it weren't for those things, these things wouldn't matter. And another perfect example is like the fitness industry. I'm not calling anybody out, and I don't know any of this for fact. But it's like people that idolize or look up to people that I would bet my life are on massive amounts of steroids. Be inspired by them. They work hard. Their advice most of the time is sound, but the fact they're not honest in disclosing the little fluke, if you will, like to compare it to like getting discovered in the arts and entertainment, they're setting people up for a false sense of hope. Like, just do what I do and you'll look like me. Bullshit. And you can accidentally get big on steroids. It's not hard. Anybody who knows anybody that's done it or has been in the fitness industry for any length of time and has honest friends and honest people, it's not hard. So this whole video is just about that. Like, be aware of your inspiration, be aware of your motivation, and realize behind the scenes, everybody talks about, like, there's people who have struggles that we don't know about. There's a flip side to that. People also have huge advantages that we don't know about, or huge flukes we don't know about. Why am I going to listen? I would listen to a single mother who got her PhD at 45 long before I listened to Chris Pratt. He's a good guy. Everything he says is nice and motivational and spiritual and go country and God. But he doesn't know. I don't relate to him being in his mid 40s going back to college. I don't. Veterans who start businesses. I'm wearing a hat right now. Good guy. But young vets looking up to him. Google the pay scale for anybody that's retired. Are you basing your lack of success as a vet on a vet who's 20-year retired, maybe was good with his money, has no debt, and is maybe single? Their retirement paycheck allows them to start a t-shirt business or risk stuff and look successul. And so I just want to ramble about that because I'm kind of sick of the bullshit. I'm not shitting on the messages. One that made me snap today, like I said, was the SoundCloud, all these actors giving motivational speeches at graduation. And I just thought to myself, sorry for the language, but what the fuck? Why? Jim Carrey, I literally have the initials of Jim Carrey as a tattoo on me for where he said, don't live a life of fear disguised as practicality. Just because he's an actor and an entertainer in his career, even though he worked and he was discovered, it's not the same as the single mother who goes back to college with 3 kids and gets a master's or PhD. So I'm obviously motivated by these people, and I draw inspiration from them. So I'm not shitting on their message or calling them hypocrites, but I'm saying we as the receivers of these messages need to realize who we're getting them from. Are we getting them from The Rock with his 30 assistants and wondering why we're not as successful as him and not as muscular as him and can't do as much as we have? And I mean, how many nannies do you think he has as a father? Like, let's really keep that shit in perspective. Are we holding it up to that standard? And if we are we setting ourselves up to be a life of misery and perceived failures? Or are we looking at, I'm trying to be better at this. This is easier said than done, because I get really jealous and jaded and bitter about other people's success, especially in the entertainment industry. But are we looking at that, or The Rock, or I know in the film industry, I know personally tons of people, their careers are flukes, or it's who they knew, and so be it. Yes, I'm jealous by them, but am I more inspired by, a single mother? My sister's a single mother kicking ass, or am I inspired by a vet who's missing a leg that climbs Everest? Who are we inspired by, and who are we judging our own self-worth on? And where are we finding that sweet spot of ignorant blindness to, invent the plane even when people said it couldn't be done, versus reality? And then this is obviously a little reflective. I mean, you don't have to read between the lines. Or are we going to be like, oh, the Stallone and Arnold did it, I can do it too? And then at 45 going, oops, well, fuck. I held myself up to that standard, which, especially in the entertainment industry, it is a fluke amongst flukes to make it. Like, for every Rock, there's 5,000 to 10,000 unemployed actors. So that's my message. If you stuck with me, great. Just, if you're in the same space as a vet or somebody in the film industry or the fitness industry, or you're a young person before all this shit happens, I hope this helped. I wish somebody would have told me this stuff. I don't blame anybody. I had an amazing family, an amazing upbringing, great parents, great mentors, great role models. But I blindly tried to discover how to, invent the plane, and wasn't ready for the fallout. And again, I picked an industry where it didn't matter how hard I worked. As vets especially, we get it. If you want to be a Green Beret or SEAL, you work your ass off, you don't quit, you are good at what you do. There's a lot to be said behind the scenes now lately with standards, but you'll get what you want. Doctor, my dad was a doctor. He went to college, he went to med school, he became a doctor. Pretty black and white. And there's obviously struggles. It's hard to pay for that. He was the son of a principal in Nebraska, so it's not like this was an easy thing for his financial life. So I almost respect that more. If you think about it, like, to work full-time and go to college and medical school, like, that shit matters. So I lost sight of that. And if you haven't had this happen yet, I hope this helps. If you are where I'm at right now in this self-worth, purposelessness, oh shit, I'm almost 50s and I am starting life over, which sucks. Hopefully this helps mitigate something you're going through. So, yep. Okay.